Another detailed report has come out highlighting just how badly Manchester United is run, just what a crap job Murtough has done, how Ten Hag has basically been treated poorly by the club, and more. We're going to get into this report, interesting things it said on the Anthony Højlund signing, even the Bellingham signing where John Murtough thought showing Bellingham around our outdated facilities would be enough to convince Bellingham to join Manchester United. And more. So please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below. Let's get into the video. And at the end, we'll get into the latest on the takeover and what parts of this they're going to change. But I think these articles and some of this stuff that's mentioned is absolutely going to shock you. Also, every few seconds, the Wi-Fi bell in my recording software has been right at the bottom, saying that my Wi-Fi is not connecting well. So I do apologize if this comes out a little bit laggy or blurry at points in the video. I've been sat here for an hour trying to record, and I don't want to delay this video anymore. I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi. It's just being crap. But we're going to get into bits of Laurie Whitwell's article. Laurie Whitwell did a fantastic article today. I'd highly recommend reading it over on The Athletic, and we're going to get into some of the main points he touched about. He sort of mentioned things along the lines of this. He said Atalanta told Højlund that he could leave for £50 million in the summer, but Manchester United then went to Atalanta and communicated that they draw the line at 60 million. Atalanta then used this to get a 72 million deal, including add-ons for Højlund. So basically what was going to happen is Atalanta had actually put a £50 million price tag on Rasmus Højlund. They told him he could go for £50 million. But United, instead of figuring out what the price tag Atalanta put on Højlund was, went to Atalanta and was like, we want Højlund, we won't pay more than 60 million for him. When Atalanta were thinking, okay, well, we're only going to get 50 million for him. Atalanta saw that. Their sporting director is the guy that sold us Maguire for 80 million. They saw our desperation for a striker, and they closed a £64 million deal because they know that Manchester United say they draw the line at 60 million, which means they'll pay a bit over. They closed a £64 million deal with add-ons going to £72 million. Now, you've got to remember, just 11 months before we signed Højlund, Atalanta had signed him for under £15 million. And I think that highlights a lot about how bad the transfer policy is at Manchester United. It only cost Atalanta 15 million to recruit to get Rasmus Højlund. He wasn't even a regular starter, and they sold him a year later for 72 million. I'm a big fan of Rasmus Højlund. I think he's fantastic. I think he's got great potential. But let's be honest, Højlund, any competent club would have got Højlund for about £40 million, rising to 50 million in add-ons. He was not worth that much money. And that ate up a massive part of the budget. If we actually could do transfers effectively, we would have saved 20 million on Højlund. People often go in on Ten Hag saying it's Ten Hag's fault. He's wasted 400 million. He spent so much money on this person, that person, this person. It's like, no. The board did. It is the board's fault. It was then said by Laurie Whitwell that United also held talks with Ajax earlier in the window when he's talking about summer 2022, but said we will not pay more than 60 million for Anthony. Then a week later, Manchester United panicked and paid 86 million because they felt pressured to get Ten Hag signings. And I just think, again, this is an example of a well-run club would have said, look, we won't pay any more than 60 million for Anthony because he's not worth 60 million. And then they panic, and a week later they buy him for £86 million because they panic. A good well-run club would be like, okay, look, we're going to go and get another right winger for that price. It doesn't have to be Anthony. We could go and look at someone like Nico Williams. We could look at someone like Bakayoko, Sule. They could have got Gakpo for 30 million at the time. A well-run club would not have wasted £86 million of the budget on Anthony. A well-run club would have probably had 60 million, probably had 100 million more to save. I tell you this now, if we were well run, Højlund would have been, 50 million. Anthony would have been 50 million. And I think we probably would have got another right wing of 50 million instead of Anthony. And that there is 30 million saved. We would have saved 10 million on Martinez just from getting him earlier. And we'd have had like 80 million extra to put on a quality midfielder or something like that this summer. But we're not well run. And people blame Ten Hag for that. It was said under the management of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, United had scouts that actually looked at Anthony but valued him at £25 million. We valued him at £25 million. Our scouts did. But we went and spent 86 million on him. And that's what I want to talk about, because I think being a scout at Manchester United must feel like the most useless job in the world. And the reason I say that is our scouts pick out players like Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Julian Alvarez, Guardiola, all of these good players, and then they value them. They picked out Anthony and said he's valued at £25 million. And then a year later, Manchester United go and sign him for £86 million. You've got to remember that they completely ignored the scouts, who the scouts look at. It's like we've got scouts that find Caicedo, they find Julian Alvarez, they find all these good names, and then they value them, but then we go and get another player that John Murtough or Richard Arnold or Ed Woodward finds, and then spend loads of money. When our scouts had valued Anthony and looked at Anthony and said, look, he's a £25 million player, which he is, our scouts had watched him and valued him at 25 million. For John Murtough, for those at United to ignore the scouts and pay £86 million for him is an absolute laugh. And it just highlights how bad United are run. And I think Charlie summed it up so well. He said, so Manchester United value a player at X amount and basically end up playing Y amount, which is almost like 50%, if not 100% more for a player because the current structure isn't in place. Basically, this report highlights that United don't have the structure when they listen to the scouts. They don't have the right sporting structure in place. And they literally just go to a club and say, yeah, we'll draw the line at 60 million. But the club are thinking of selling the player for 50 million anyway. It was also sort of said on why John Murtough got this job. John Murtough apparently was only offered the job of Man United director of football because they wanted to stop him going to Inter Miami. It said sources insisted there's nobody at Manchester United skilled at assessing a player's worth who has the authority on spending and can take a holistic view of squad building. And it was mentioned that when Ten Hag arrived, he said he wants a midfielder in the mould of Frankie de Jong, an established centre forward and a left foot centre back. We didn't get an established centre forward that window. We did not at all. We did get a left foot centre back in Martinez, who was obviously just a Ten Hag signing because he came from Ajax. And we didn't get a midfielder in the mould of Frankie de Jong. We missed out on Frankie de Jong, went for a completely different player in Casemiro. And people go in on Ten Hag. People blame Ten Hag. People are consistently negative around Ten Hag. But I'm sitting here thinking, like, Ten Hag wanted a striker. We never got it. Ten Hag wanted a player in the mould of Frankie de Jong. We never got it. But he did get a centre-back, who is his most important player. And his centre-back is out injured because Martinez basically dictates how we play. People wonder why Ten Hag isn't doing well this season when he never gets half the signings he wants. Ten Hag's not playing the football he wants to play because he's still not got a midfielder in the mould of Frankie de Jong. Maino is the closest to that, and that's probably why he likes Maino. And Ten Hag gets all his stick, but actually, if you just look at the incompetency of how the club is run, how they've probably wasted an extra 80 million of money Ten Hag could have spent on two players that would improve the squad right now in January, on just overpaying for Højlund and Anthony because they're idiots and not getting him as Frankie de Jong as player. You've got to realise that this is why I'm not Ten Hag out. This is why I've said I want the structures to change. I want everything at the club to change first, and then in a year's time, I will assess if Ten Hag is the guy or not. That's why I'm not Ten Hag out, because of reports like this from credible Laurie Whitwell highlighting how bad the club is run. Laurie Whitwell then said other things about Richard Arnold sounding out Dan Ashworth before he joined Newcastle, following a recommendation of Sir Alex Ferguson, but he refused to enter serious discussions with the club. Dan Ashworth was not interested in coming to United because he didn't want to work under John Murtough, is what Laurie Whitwell is saying. The positive is there's now reports and indications that Dan Ashworth is open to joining Manchester United under the new Ineos project, and that would then highlight that Dan Ashworth believes that the Ineos project is going to be different. He's had enough information to realise that he's going to get a lot of control to do things at United that is needed to be done, which is good. It was then also said by Laurie Whitwell that Ed Woodward was aware of the difficulty of selling John Murtough's appointment to fans who were expecting an established sporting director, and so combined the announcement with the appointment of Dan Fletcher as the first technical director, which was absolutely embarrassing. Every other club was bringing in experienced technical and sporting directors, and Man United thought, well, Dan Fletcher's an ex-player, John Murtough has no experience, but we don't want him to go to Inter Miami. Let's give John Murtough and Darren Fletcher the role of recruitment and running this club. And then we wonder why that our recruitment policy under Ten Hag has been dreadful. And people blame Ten Hag, they're getting the players Ten Hag wants. He really wanted Anthony, really wanted Mason Mount. And we spent, 150 million nearly on Anthony and Mason Mount. It's not Ten Hag's fault. Look at the incompetent people that actually think that Mount and Anthony are worth spending 150 million on, the Højlund 70 million on, and their poor negotiation structure. If we had a good negotiation structure, we probably could have got all of those three players for about £60 million less as well. And people blame Ten Hag for that, but it's just the board, the incompetency of the club and how bad it is run. And look, this is the kind of stuff that makes me want Ineos to come in. Obviously, I want a full takeover. I've been big on the full takeover. I don't like the fact that it's 25%. But if Ineos are coming in, they're getting Arnold, Murtough and Fletcher out for Blanc, Ashworth and Mitchell. That is needed to be done because this club is run like absolute shambles. The way this club is run is absolutely embarrassingly bad. And that is why I'm not Ten Hag out. I've been very critical of Ten Hag, the style of football we're playing, his lineups, his favouritism, his man management, falling out with certain players. But the ownership, the structure, it's another report that highlights how bad it is.